I think pound for pound, this is the strongest 2x by 15x we have ever seen. How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the second edition of Should You Summon this weekend, because wow, there are 3 crazy banners. Today we are discussing probably the most exciting for most people out of the bunch. That's going to be this Frostborn event. So we have the Frostborn Invocation of Spirits and the Frostborn Divine Summoning. This one is for rare summoning crystals. This one is for legendary summoning crystals, but is a 2x by 15x on these 3 heroes and these 3 epics. These 3 legendary heroes and these 3 epics. Let me tell you, all 3 of these legendaries are at worst good, all the way up to fantastic, unbelievable, game-changing. Honestly, I would say they're all at least very good. I think they're all excellent. You will hear about that very shortly. And then, because it is a 2x by 15x, you are getting the full rate-up package, right? It's a 2 times chance to get a legendary hero to begin with. And then if you hit legendary, you have a 15 times rate-up on all of these legendary heroes. So Boreas, Lucius, and Ares. If you are like me and you have been saving your divines for a while, also they're throwing a bunch of divines at us in this event, you're probably ready to cook, man. I'm unloading absolutely everything. Now, why is that? I'm gonna have to tell you about all 3 of these heroes. Also, before I get ahead of myself, DEIMOS ties for the rarest epic hero in the game. He's on this banner, so a lot of people might finally snag him. We are going to focus this video on the 3 legendaries. They are fantastic. I mean, Lucius, to me, really is the ultimate grand prize. I will just keep summoning. I will use everything I've got, praying that I get multiple copies of this guy. All right, guys, we're going to break down it. Should you summon? We're going to talk about each spending group, those being free to play, low spender, mid spender, dolphin, and whale, and then also talking about where each player in the game might be in their progression. So early game, mid game, late game, and end game. We got a lot to chat about. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Alrighty, guys, I have got to one take God this, so pray for me.
Do not bother praying. This took like 14 takes.
We're going to go through these 3 legendary heroes. I will be thorough, but I also want to be concise. It is a tight rope to walk, so hopefully I pull it off. Let's just go down the list, starting with Boreas. Boreas gets a bad rap because he was OP, crazy god of all gods, Frost Wizard that happens to not be a Northerner. That is a story for another day. But he was triple S God when he first came out, right? They nerfed him into the turf, you know? He's still excellent. He's still a definitive S hero. The things he is best at, he's still best at. However, he was just so good before, like so crazy, stupid good before. You know, I think people have this memory of that, and they're comparing this version to that. This version's still fantastic. You guys, I have a full Boreas guide from before the nerf. You can still check it out. A lot of those things hold true. And then I've even shown off Boreas after the nerf, solo DPSing 221. He can do all that stuff. He's an absolute unit when it comes to big DPS when you're able to freeze units. A lot of his damage scales off of freeze. He's got this Eternal Ice Haven. You can see it directly scales the extra damage off of the freeze durations. So a lot of new content that have freeze immunities or crowd control immunities, that has made him less desirable. But when it comes to just clearing a bunch of mobs and you're able to freeze the units, this guy's still the GOAT. He's still crazy. Gear Aid 1, he's the best hero in the game, right? Huge crowd control in the form of freeze, big AoE magic DPS, crazy anti-heals. It's just nutty. They actually made this longer. They buffed his anti-heal. It used to be 3 seconds after the nerf. They buffed this though. They made it 4 seconds. He's a crazy hero, guys. He synergizes really well in the Esotericist faction. You know, there's a lot of good freezers there. I love getting him going with I. He's an exciting hero, and if you're anything but like endgame, he will change your account. That being said, I am endgame. I have Boreas A3. I don't use him, so I'm hoping I don't pick up a couple copies of him. But don't let that. I also have a very well-developed account with a ton of AoE magic DPS. Don't let that dissuade you guys, because for a lot of people, you won't believe how fortunate you feel to snag him. He gets a bad rap also in Arena, right? He was crazy for AoE and crazy for anti-air. Now he's just good. He's just good. He's like a solid A+ to S in that. Before he was like triple S goated, every single team had him. So to be fair, the nerf, I think they went a little too far, but it's not like they made him a bad hero. He's still fantastic. So Boreas is a very exciting unit for many of you guys to get. Let's continue. Actually, I said I was going to go down the line, but Lucius is just... Oh, Lucius. All right, let's go to Ares. We'll finish off with Lucius. So, Ares, guys, this guy's also getting a bad rap. people are used to with these 2x by 15x's. I'll try to think of how many I can think of. There's only one exception I can ever think of that was a 2x by 15x with only 2 heroes on it. And that was for Thanksgiving, and it was Allura and Constance. At that time, we had so many people that Allura was going to be the superstar of the banner. Little did we know, Constance is a top 10 non-lord hero in the game. Ridiculous, right? However, every other one has had 3 heroes. 2 of them tend to be crazy good, and one of them is kind of meh. So the first time we ever had it, if I'm not mistaken, was Hotsit, Setchram, and Ezrein. Ezrein's not a bad hero, but he's meh, right? Then when we had it over, this one actually was pretty extreme. When we had it over Christmas, the week before Christmas, when Boreas first came out, it was Boreas, it was Setchram, and it was Aurum. Aurum's not the worst hero in the game, but yeah, getting Aurum, I got 2 of Aurum on that banner, no Setchram. I did get 3 Boreas, which was cool. It's a big fart, though. There's like that off hero. Then think back to the most recent example of a 2x by 15x. We had Seala 2, we had Hex, crazy game changer DPS heroes, right? And then Razak. I personally wouldn't mind a Razak because I don't have him, but most people were not looking for Razak, and a lot of people got them. Remember, these more common heroes, the common bucket legendary heroes, you're going to, on average, pull them more. You never know, you could get lucky, but a lot of people are pulling Razak and they're hoping for a Hex. That hurts, right? I don't think that's Ares. He's a good hero. When it comes to his stats and his faction, I think it's perfect. He kind of reminds me of Abomination or something, right? He's a nightmare, he's a fighter, but he can fill the role of a tank. Big HP, solid defense. I wish it was higher, but solid defense. Magic res, kind of in the toilet. Story for another day as well. He's still very functional for most content. Sky high attack, really high attack. You love to see 6257. 17 cost is very nice, the same like Abomination. 2.6 interval. You can kind of see Rage Regen Auto is like right in the middle of average at 13. 14 is like the higher end of average. We'd prefer that. With a lot of fighters, they tend to give them 12 or 13. But with Ares, he's very, very, very steady in that tank role. And he brings a lot more, especially when you're talking single target and you're talking bosses, right? His talent, this is no joke. 20% defense reduction on all his basic attacks. That's legit. If we go to the ultimate here, his ultimate, he's like an Infernal Roar style hero. That doesn't mean you have to put him in Infernal Roar. I think he'd be better in the Glacier set or something like that, or just Broken Set tanky build, or let's be honest, Soulbound Arcana. It's the best set for literally every hero in the game right now until they amend that. If they ever do, I don't know. Story for another day as well. But talking about this, it's a souped up basic attack is what happens with his ultimate, right? Because of that, all his attacks then are going to do this defense reduction. So it's going to be 100% uptime as long as he has something to hit. So if you think of bosses in this game, he can be fantastic as long as you're bringing physical damage that needs a defense break or can benefit from a defense break. He goes one step further. On his ultimate, he places this big boy physical vulnerability. If you think of like the standard vulnerabilities we see from like Mari or Pyros, it's 20%. Granted, they do magic and physical, but it's 20%. Then if you think of something like Twin Fiend or Soul Cadence at A1, Awaken level 1 on a Legendary Lord, again, they do physical and magic vulnerabilities, but it's 25%. He's just doing physical, but it's a whopping 30%. That is fantastic. It is very, very potent. So you can see when it comes to debuffing and helping put out more damage for not just himself, because he does normal physical damage, but all other physical and piercing damage heroes, the guy's wild. The issue with him is it's just all single target stuff, you know, so it's really like boss focused, but it's really cool. He also has stuns. It's really only on the deploys, so that's not going to be too exciting for something like Guild Boss 2. But all in all, it's very good debuffs. He can fill this tank role. And by the way, and this is the key thing, his damage is very solid. I know some people have talked about, I mean, Jay and Geo made a cool video. They compared it to Arrogance. Cool video, in my opinion, fell a little short in the testing. They kind of got to it in the end of the video. Basically, he is not Arrogance. He's not even close to what Arrogance can do. But if you're running him solo, if you can only bring one and you can't bring any other debuffs and support for Arrogance, well, yeah, he can do some crazy stuff because he's doing physical damage while applying physical damage vulnerability and a defense break. Ideally, you're going to pair him with better, more potent physical damage dealers or piercing damage dealers that can benefit from this stuff, but he himself as well will do real damage. It's not going to be like a Volca pre-buff where she wasn't doing much damage. He will do legit damage. If you think of Guild Boss 2, something where you really could benefit from a defense break and hey, maybe a really tanky hero, I think I would use him as a tank easily on APOC 1. And for APOC 2, if you're the kind of person that doesn't have both Lust and Arrogance, or you have Lust and Arrogance, but you don't need to use Volca because you can bring another damage reduction like Alistair or something, if you're lucky enough to have him, then he could slot right in as one of your 4 Nightmare units. Even if you have Wrath, right? You could, if you didn't need to bring Volca, you could bring Alistair. Now I'm theory crafting for you, but you could do like Wrath, Arrogance, Lust, Ares, those could be your 4. Alistair could provide the damage down. That would be a pretty nutso squad. This guy he's really good. My little bit of testing, the damage is legitness. It's not the level of, he's not arrogance, guys. He really isn't. I mean, Jay and Gio knew that, watched the end of the video. I think a lot of people watched the first minute and got all excited, but he's good. And the tankiness, the supporty stuff, the debuffy stuff, that brings him to the next level. To me, he's a hero I'd be happy to pull. If I pulled him 4 times and didn't get a single Lucius, knock on wood, that would suck. But getting a copy, he's an exciting hero. I can already see uses for him, even on my pretty endgame account. He's a cool hero. Finally, Lucius. I'm going to have a full Lucius guide coming out tomorrow. You will not believe it. Get hyped. Let me know in the comments if you're hyped. I covered him a decent amount in Anora's banner yesterday, so I'm going to try to go pretty fast now. This is what you need to know about Lucius. First big thing, Guild Boss 2 God. Even at A0. This is crazy, his exorcism, right? Crazy. The first 4 pursuits, which he has a 25% chance to land pursuits on his basic attacks. Again, this is going to be a souped up basic attack for his exorcism, an Infernal Roar type hero. Soulbound Arcana is best in set for him, just so you know. But his first 4 pursuits, which it's going to last 20 seconds if you get him going fast at all, he will land 4. Ronaldo had a great video showcasing this. He just wipes buffs away. So if you think of the second phase of Guild Boss 2, he deletes them. You get him going pretty fast, guys. This goes down to 800 rage costs, and you're basically sitting on that ult for whenever you need it. It can come back around twice easily in that phase, if not a third time if you're running kind of long. It's tremendous. The other key thing you need to know, and again, this is even at A0, if you do not ult with him, he will be stacking Damnation. Essentially, when you reach 5 stacks, it triggers, they're calling it like an effect, like Demonic Embrace. Think of it as an auto ult that occurs. It's like a second ultimate that occurs because it clears his rage, so it uses it up as if it was an ultimate, and this happens if you haven't ulted in a while. Ronaldo, again, made a great point in his video. I just watched part of it before this, where he was saying, this guy's an exorcist, right? He's like this Van Helsing style, like hunting the vampires, hunting the bad guys. If you wait too long to do his ultimate over here, his exorcism ultimate, he gets possessed by the demons, and he's embraced by the demons. Really cool idea to the lore and the design of this hero, but when that happens, boy, you're going to want it. As long as you don't have buffs to clear, lean into this Demonic Embrace. Increases damage by 200%, reduces attack interval by 30%, so way more pursuits and cool things like that. Basic attacks, oh, it doesn't even matter. Each basic attack is guaranteed to be a pursuit, which has all those fun things. During the effect, you can't activate the ultimate naturally because it's essentially like a dual ultimate. It's like a second ultimate. This is his possessed ultimate. This is his exorciser ultimate, if that makes sense. The one who's leading the exorcism. You get crazy stuff over here from Tainted Spirit because during the effect of Demonic Embrace, his attacks are going to ignore 20% of defense. I mean, that's crazy, right? He is just unloading with big old multipliers. He's ignoring defense. It's pairing very well for just also bursty, crazy DPS. So you can think of this guy, if you play him right, and I think it's pretty exciting because there's some skill into this. When do you ult? When do you not ult? Can you keep an eye on the Demonic Embrace? Know exactly when it's coming. There is going to be kind of a dance to it. I think that's really fun. Just at A0, you've got the best buff dispeller in the game, basically the only one, all else equal, basically the only one, and crazy bursty damage. And by the way, they're trying to make Watcher happen either tonight when this video comes out or tomorrow. Destin has a video that I'm featured on, covering the new Ancient exclusive Watcher Lord. She might be the best here in the game. I'll have a video where I get into that too, that one featuring Destin, in about 2 days. It's crazy. He's kind of perfect. However, if you're a big spender, you've been saving, or you're looking for something spicy at A3, now he's also getting, during the ultimate, his pursuits are inflicting stun and damage reduction. So he's filling 3 roles for you. He's dispelling the buffs, right? So now you don't need a crazy Praetus or some crazy true damage here, like maybe you're forced to bring a Nocturne or something. He is going to do the buff dispel, basically make phase 2, which for me and many people is by far the hardest phase. He makes it the easiest phase. He makes it easy mode. And then if you got him A3, phase 1, the stuns are going to go crazy. This is going to be wild. So just in one ultimate, he should on average get off 5 stuns. So that's a big help. He can kind of do that role himself, especially at lower levels. If you have any other support, it is plenty. And then, by the way, he lands damage reduction. It's not as strong as Alistair or Volca, but at minus 20%, it is absolutely significant. People would be very lucky to get him A3, but again, even at A0, he's beyond cracked. Now we know the lay of the land, people. These heroes are good. This is a good banner. I think this probably, pound for pound, given the state of the game, given the importance of GB2, where Lucius will be an absolute god, Aerials will be very, very good, and then also all these new players coming in, Boreas is going to be a super hard carry. I think, pound for pound, this is the strongest 2x by 15x we have ever seen. I'm not going to say it's the best, because we had one with Hotsit and Setram on it, but it has an argument. It is crazy, crazy good. So let's start answering those questions. Should you summon? Free to play, I think if you're free to play, really, it's going to be the same thing like in my Anora video yesterday. It comes down to your progression, right? If you are early, mid, or even the early portion of late game, you still need AoE magic DPS. Not going to get that much better, and certainly not going to get that much better and guaranteed than Anora. Anora is going to be an amazing, amazing thing. Also, having Anora, I do not anticipate she's coming back anytime soon. A hero with a design like this ain't Falsia, guys. This is not the kind of hero that comes around every 5 or 6 months. She's special, right? So she's limited. So if you want it, go for it. I do think, I think that's the call. If you're early, mid, early portion of late game, unless you're in that portion, but you're absolutely cooking with like a Comet and a Virna or something, or Boreas already, right? If you do not have that though, I think free to play, you go for Anora. If you're a bit later on, or certainly end game, this is crazy. I mean, Lucius gonna get you those rewards. Best rewards in the game. If you saw my video yesterday, Maku got 5 Ancients in 1 chest. That was from the lowest chest. When people start hitting those 80k and 120k chests consistently, I know some people already, but a large population of people, you're gonna see some wild chests. This Guild Boss 2 is where it is at right now, and this is king. You're looking, outside of maybe Praetus, right? You're looking at the king, baby. This guy is nutso. Any normal player needs to snag a copy, and for that reason, even if you're free to play, and we'll just lump in low spender, it's the same thing, and you're in that end portion of the game, you have to go for it. Now, same as yesterday, mid spender is tough. I think it comes down to a gut check. Assess your AoE magic DPS, assess how important it is to you, like personally, to have these collector items, limited heroes. If you're good on AoE magic DPS, right, if you're sitting pretty, and you're not obsessed with finishing your Pokedex, then you skip Anora and you go for this one. If you feel differently on either of those things, you go for Anora. I think that's where you go mid-spender. A mid-spender, in my opinion, like mid-spender, unless you're deciding, hey, I'm going to take off my mid-spender hat and put on my Kraken hat or my Whale hat or my Dolphin hat, unless that's you, I don't see how you're going to be able to whale out on both these banners, so I think that's a chief consideration. Dolphins and whales, if you're a Dolphin, you're about to whale. Anyone that's spending that much, this is the time you whale. Maybe you've already saved, so you don't actually have to spend much or not spend at all. But Dolphins, you go for this, you go for both, you do proper pity manipulation. If you want to know about pity manipulation, I will have a huge stream tomorrow. It's going to be monstrous, where we're doing both of these banners, right? I guess all 3, counting the Divines. We're doing all of this at once. There'll be endless pity manipulation. If you want to see a really good example of it already, for the last one with Dahlia, I did a lot of really good pity manipulation. So if you're Dolphin or Whale or Kraken, or you just have been saving forever, you do both, baby. It's as simple as that. What an exciting time in Watcher of Realms, guys. It really is really cool. The final thing I have to address, and unfortunately for me, I think I'm going to have to make a video about it. Everyone is saying, all right, you keep comparing the Boreas, Lucius, Ares banner. You keep comparing that to the Anora banner as if there's not some big other rare and divine banner coming next weekend. There's got to be, right? There's got to be a big one paired with Praetus. Not that I know about. Devs haven't told me anything. Destin hasn't told me anything. T, Rokanchi, Aresis, of course, Panther. I've heard nothing, right? Not even a mumble. Devs like haven't sent us any kind of something. They send me like sneaky messages like, hey, can you look into this hero on test server? And I'm like, all right, she's coming soon, right? Nothing like that. Radio silence. There's been a commercial with Arrogance and Lust. Sure, it's possible. You know, I saw artwork with Arrogance and Lust. Sure, it's possible, but I think it's unlikely. I have to cover this in the video tomorrow. I do have a lot of thoughts on it. All I can do is give you my opinion, given the complete, or what I think to be complete information I have on hand right now. That is this. Get excited, guys. Wacky, wild and wacky times to be playing Watcher of Realms. The game is piping hot. So is Anora. And that's how we're going to end this video. Actually, I should just move myself all the way out of the way. Woo! Guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. If you like my stuff, let me know. Talk to me in the comments. Give it a big thumbs up. Share with your mother. Subscribe. And I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Fastidious.